Strasbourg sits in France's far northeast, on the Rhine border with Germany, the largest city of Alsace and the capital of the Grand Est region. It is a compact city of roughly 290,000 people, small enough to feel intimate, but dense with world-class culture, food, and history. The historic core sits on a flat river island at just 132 meters of elevation, ringed by the branching channels of the Île. That island, the Grande-Île, became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988, the first time an entire city center earned that designation. Strasbourg also carries real political weight, serving as the official seat of the European Parliament and a working capital of the European Union. That dual identity, half-medieval Alsatian town and half-modern European institution, is what makes the city feel unlike anywhere else in France. Culturally, Strasbourg is a genuine border blend, where French and German traditions have layered for centuries into a food, architecture, and dialect all its own. This is a walking city first. Almost everything a visitor wants sits within the island and the quarters immediately around it. The clearest strength here is density of substance. Few cities pack a UNESCO old town, deep museums, and a Michelin food scene into so small a footprint. The clearest limitation is scale. Strasbourg is not a beach city, not a nightlife capital, and not a base for big wilderness on the doorstep. If you need constant novelty or a party scene that runs until dawn, a larger capital like Paris or Lyon will serve you better. For most visitors, Strasbourg is a 2 to 4 day trip, ideal as a standalone city break or as the anchor for exploring the wider Alsace region. It rewards travelers who like to go slow, wander canals, sit long over lunch, and absorb a place rather than rush a checklist. It also works beautifully as a paired trip, since Germany's Black Forest and the storybook town of Colmar sit within easy reach. Getting oriented is simple once you understand the geography. The island holds the cathedral and the old town, and the newer quarters fan out from there. To the west of the island lies Petite, France, the postcard quarter of half-timbered houses and covered bridges along the water. To the northeast sits the Neustadt, the Grand German imperial district of wide boulevards, built during the annexation between 1871 and 1918. Further east again, past the parks, sits the European Quarter, home to the Parliament and the Council of Europe on the edge of town. Keep those 4 zones in mind: the island, Petite France, the Neustadt, and the European Quarter, and the rest of this guide will map cleanly. Most international visitors arrive through Strasbourg Airport, a small regional field about 15 kilometers southwest of the center, with its own train shuttle. That shuttle is the smart way in. It runs frequently to the central station and takes under 10 minutes for a very small fare. The ticket is covered by a standard transit day pass, which runs about €460, and also unlocks the trams, buses, and local trains all day. A single airport shuttle ride on its own is cheaper still, in the range of €2, so confirm current fares on the CTS site before you travel. For many travelers, though, the train is the real front door to Strasbourg, since the city is a major stop on the French high-speed network. The fast TGV from Paris reaches Strasbourg in under 2 hours, dropping you at the central station a short walk from the old town. Direct rail also links Strasbourg to Luxembourg, Brussels, and across the Rhine to Germany, making a car completely unnecessary for a city trip. If you are watching costs, inner-city coaches from operators like Flixbus and BlaBlaBus connect the same routes for as little as €5 to €35. Once you arrive, the verdict on renting a car is clear. For a Strasbourg city break, a car is unnecessary and often a liability. The historic center is a maze of pedestrian zones, tram tracks, and restricted streets where driving is discouraged and parking is scarce and expensive. Central parking garages run around €3 an hour, or roughly €25 for a full day, so a car mostly sits burning money. The exception is if you plan to tour the Alsace wine route or reach small villages, where a rental unlocks the countryside beautifully. Inside the city, the tram is the backbone of getting around, a clean, quiet, modern network that reaches nearly everywhere a visitor needs. Strasbourg has no metro, but its tram system does the same job at street level, running from early morning until well past midnight. A single tram or bus ride costs about 1.90 euros, and a day pass around 460 euros pays off after just 3 trips. If you are staying a week or working remotely, a monthly pass sits near 56 euros, though most short-stay visitors never need one. Contactless tap-to-pay works on the network, so you can board with a bank card or phone rather than hunting for a ticket machine. Honestly, though, most visitors will barely use the tram because the walkable core makes distances short and the walking itself is the pleasure. Strasbourg rates as very walkable, and the island is small enough to cross on foot in about 20 minutes end to end. From a central hotel, the Cathedral, Petite, France, and the main square all sit within a 10 to 15 minute stroll of each other. The city is also seriously bike-friendly, with a dense network of protected lanes and a public rental scheme that locals use heavily. Cycling here is rated as safe and flat, a legitimate way to reach the parks and the European quarter without waiting on a tram. For door-to-door trips, Uber operates in Strasbourg alongside traditional taxis, though the compact center means you will rarely need either one. Metered taxis start around 260 euros and add roughly 1.50 euros per kilometer, so a short crosstown ride stays inexpensive by big city standards. One practical warning worth planning around. France has frequent transit and rail strikes, which can disrupt TGV connections on short notice. Build a little slack into arrival and departure days, and check the SNCF app before travel, so a strike day does not derail your plans. Choosing a base in Strasbourg mostly comes down to which of 4 central zones fits your trip, since all of them are walkable. The single best area for most first-time visitors is the Grande-Île itself, the historic island that holds the cathedral and the old town. Staying on the island puts you inside the postcard with restaurants, monuments, and the main square all within a 5 to 10 minute walk. The trade-off is price and noise. Island hotels command the highest rates, and the streets around the cathedral stay busy well into the evening. Just west of the cathedral, the Petite France quarter offers the same medieval charm in a quieter, more romantic setting along the canals. This is the choice for couples, a warren of half-timbered houses and footbridges where the loudest sound at night is usually the water. The catch is that Petite France is small and popular, so the best-rated rooms book out early and rarely come cheap in high season. For better value without losing walkability, look to the area around the central train station, just west of the island across a few bridges. The station district trades some old town atmosphere for lower rates and instant rail access, an easy 10 to 15 minute walk to the cathedral. A fourth option is the Neustadt, the elegant German-era district north of the island, full of wide streets and grand 19th century facades. The Neustadt suits travelers who want calm, space, and architecture, with the university and the Parc de l'Orangerie close at hand. On price, Strasbourg is refreshingly reasonable for a Western European city with this much heritage, especially outside the peak Christmas weeks. Budget rooms typically run around 60 to 70 euros a night, the range where you find reliable chains like the Ibis budget near République. Mid-range hotels sit in roughly the 80 to 110 euro band, covering solid 4-star options like the Okekyo Center and the Aloft. Genuine upscale and flagship properties push past 120 euros and climb toward 160 or more per night during busy stretches at current rates. For a splurge on the island, the Sofitel Strasbourg Grande-Île anchors the top tier, with a strong 4.5-star rating across thousands of reviews. Design-led travelers gravitate to the Léonore, a converted convent that consistently earns some of the highest guest scores in the city. For a landmark stay near the station, the Maison Rouge, an autograph collection hotel, blends heritage with the reliability of a global loyalty program. Marriott and IHG both run properties here, so Bonvoy and IHG1 members can put points and status to work in Strasbourg. Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts coverage is thin in a city this size, so check availability before assuming a portal booking will apply. There is no zone you truly need to avoid, but skip anything marketed as central that actually sits out by the ring road or the suburbs. For couples, choose Petite France or the island. For value and transit, choose the station. For calm and space, choose the Neustadt. Strasbourg's headline attraction is its cathedral, and it earns every bit of the attention it gets from arriving visitors. The Cathedral Notre Dame is a soaring pink sandstone Gothic masterpiece that was, for over 2 centuries, the tallest building in the world. Entry to the cathedral itself is free, and climbing the platform for the rooftop view costs only a small fee, so budget a couple of hours here. Inside, do not miss the astronomical clock, a Renaissance mechanical marvel whose figures parade at solar noon each day to a gathered crowd. The square around the cathedral is anchored by the Maison Kammerzell, a spectacularly carved 16th century house that now holds a restaurant. A 2-minute walk south brings you to the Palais Rohan, the grand riverside palace completed in 1742 for the city's prince-bishops. The Palais is a 3-in-1 museum housing the fine arts, decorative arts, and archaeology collections under one Baroque roof by the water. Nearby, the Musée du Louvre Notre Dame holds the original medieval sculptures and stained glass from the cathedral, a quieter but deeply rewarding stop. From the cathedral, the natural walk leads west to Petite France, the quarter of half-timbered houses leaning over the canals of the Île. At the western tip stand the Ponts Couverts, 3 medieval bridges with 4 surviving towers, once part of the city's 13th century defenses. Just beyond them, climb the Barrage Vauban, a 17th century dam whose rooftop terrace gives you the classic postcard view back over the bridges. For a break from monuments, the best way to see the whole island is from the water, on a bateau-rama sightseeing boat. The bateau-rama tours glide from the Palais Rohan through Petite France and out to the European Quarter, a relaxed way to grasp the city's shape. Speaking of which, the European Quarter on the eastern edge is worth the tram ride to see the modern Parliament and Council of Europe buildings. Back in the center, Place Kleber is the city's vast main square, a pedestrian expanse of shops and cafes that turns into the Christmas market's heart. A short walk north, Place Broglie is the elegant tree-lined square that hosts the city's markets, and in December, the historic Christkindlesmarkt Marek chalets. Architecture lovers should also set aside an hour to simply walk the Neustadt, the German imperial quarter whose grand boulevards recently joined the UNESCO listing. The Église Saint-Paul, a twin-spired neo-Gothic church rising straight from the water at the edge of the Neustadt, is the district's signature landmark. For a rainy afternoon, the city's museum roster runs deep, from the modern and contemporary art museum to the Alsatian folk museum on the island. For green space, the Parc de l'Orangerie is Strasbourg's beloved city park, with a boating lake, free access, and a small zoo enclosure. The Orangerie is also home to Strasbourg's storks, the emblem of Alsace, making it an easy and free hit for families with young children. Beyond the city, the standout day trip is the Alsace wine route, a ribbon of vineyards and flower-decked villages just south of Strasbourg. A car unlocks it best, letting you thread villages like Aubernay and Riquevier, though organized minibus wine tours run daily if you would rather not drive. The jewel of the wine route is Colmar, a fairy tale canal town about 40 minutes south by train, easily doable as a half or full day. Families or thrill seekers can reach Europa Park, Germany's largest theme park, roughly a 45-minute drive across the Rhine, with adult tickets around €67. Another unusual family outing is La Montagne des Singes, a forest reserve where about 200 Barbary macaques roam freely among visitors. For travelers drawn to serious history, the Struthof Memorial in the Vosges marks the only Nazi concentration camp built on French soil, a sobering half-day. Now let me turn these attractions into concrete itineraries, starting with the profile most visitors fit, the culture and architecture traveler. For culture-focused travelers, the Cathedral, the Palais Rohan museums, and Petite France combine into 2 full and satisfying days in the center. Day 1 starts at the cathedral when it opens, giving yourself 90 minutes for the interior and the astronomical clock before the crowds thicken. Climb the tower platform mid-morning for the rooftop view, then break for an Alsatian lunch on Place du Marché Gaillot, just behind the cathedral. In the afternoon, spend 2 hours across the Palais Rohan's 3 museums, then wander the Musée du Louvre Notre-Dame before an early Winstubs dinner. Day 2 opens in Petite, France, walking the canals to the Ponts Couverts and up the Barrage Vauban terrace for morning photos. After a light lunch by the water, take an early afternoon Bateau-Rama boat tour, then close the day with the tram out to the European quarter. The second profile is the food and wine traveler, for whom Strasbourg is less a museum circuit and more a 2-day tasting. Day 1 centers on the market and the Winstubs, opening with the covered market before a long lunch of choucroute at a traditional tavern. Spend the afternoon on a guided cellar tasting of Riesling and Gewürztraminer, then keep dinner casual with flammekuche and beer at a brew pub. Day 2, head south by car or minibus to the wine route, tasting through a couple of villages before a leisurely lunch in Colmar. Return to Strasbourg by late afternoon, rest, and book a proper dinner at a higher-end Alsatian kitchen to end the trip on a peak. The third profile is the family traveler, and Strasbourg quietly offers more for kids than its heritage reputation suggests. Day 1 keeps it central and gentle, climbing the cathedral tower in the morning, then a Bateau-Rama boat ride kids tend to love after lunch. Spend the afternoon at the Parc de l'Orangerie, where the boating lake, playgrounds, and free stork enclosure easily fill a few relaxed hours. Day 2 goes big, either the Barbary macaque forest at La Montagne des Singes or a full day across the border at Europa Park. Whichever profile fits, 2 days covers the core comfortably, 3 days lets you add a wine route or Colmar excursion without rushing. Strasbourg's food is its own cuisine, Alsatian, a hearty French and German hybrid built on pork, cabbage, cream, and crisp aromatic white wine. The institution to understand first is the Winstubs, a traditional wood-paneled wine tavern serving regional dishes in a warm, communal setting. The dish everyone comes for is choucroute garnie, a mound of wine-braised sauerkraut piled with sausages, smoked pork, and potatoes, usually around €22. Nearly as iconic is flammekuche, the thin, crisp, tart flambe topped with cream, onions, and bacon, a shareable bite typically near €13. For something deeper, seek out becca off, a slow-cooked casserole of 3 marinated meats and potatoes sealed in an earthenware pot, around €19. Lighter Alsatian classics include tarte à l'oignon, a savory onion custard tart, and bibelus casse, a herbe de fromage blanc dip with jacket potatoes. Save room for the region's pungent Munster cheese and for the Koe Nack de Strasbourg, a protected snapping pork sausage sold cheaply at every charcuterie. On the sweet side, the Kugelhopf is the emblem, a tall fluted brioche cake studded with raisins and almonds, sold in every bakery. Charcuterie runs deep here too, so look for Presskopf, a traditional pressed head cheese terrine, on Winstubs menus alongside boards of local cured meats. If your trip falls near the holidays, the seasonal bakes are their own reason to visit, from the little St. Nicholas brioche called Manille to the anise-scented Bray de Loup cookies. To drink, Alsace is white wine country, and a glass of bone-dry Riesling or aromatic Gewürztraminer runs about €6 or €7 in most restaurants. The region also excels at foie gras, a specialty Strasbourg's kitchens have refined for centuries, usually served as a terrine to start a formal meal. Now for specific places, sorted by the kind of meal you want, starting with the landmark tables in the center. The Maison Kammersaal, set in that carved medieval house beside the cathedral, is the iconic special occasion Alsatian table, with dinner for 2 roughly €30 to €70. For a lively mid-range Winstubs-style meal, La Corde à Linge in Petite, France pairs a canal-side setting with generous regional plates near 20 to 30 euros for two. Le Tire-Bouchon, tucked near the cathedral, is a reliable traditional choice for choucroute and tarte à l'oignon at a solid mid-range price. For a more modern bistro angle, La Hache earns some of the city's strongest reviews, serving inventive plates with an Alsatian backbone. Plant-based travelers are covered too, since Mama Bubble is a well-loved vegetarian and vegan French kitchen that breaks the pork-heavy mold cheerfully. On the budget end, Auberçeur is a beloved brew pub pouring house beers alongside Flamme Couche, an easy casual dinner for two under 20 euros. Now here is how to actually eat your way through a perfect day, following the rhythm locals do, starting with breakfast. Begin around 8 in the morning at a bakery like L'Atelier 116 with a coffee and a slice of Kugelhopf or a fresh croissant for just a few euros. Mid-morning, walk to the covered market and the stalls around Place du Marché Gayot to graze on Munster cheese, charcuterie, and a warm Kunak sausage. For lunch around 1, settle into a Petite France Winstubs such as La Corde à Linge for Flamme Couche and a glass of Riesling by the canal. Spend the late afternoon at a wine bar sampling Gewürztraminer and Pinot Blanc with a small board of Presskopf and regional cheeses to nibble. Then for dinner around 8, book a proper choucroute or becca off at a classic table like Le Tire-Bouchon or the Maison Kammerzell to finish strong. A quick reality check on cost. A casual meal runs around 14 euros a head, while a comfortable mid-range dinner for two lands near 65 euros. A serious fine dining tasting climbs toward 95 euros per person, and Strasbourg does hold Michelin-starred kitchens for travelers who want that peak. The best restaurant density is on and just off the island, so from any central hotel, the whole food scene is a short walk away. One practical note, Alsatian kitchens are pork-heavy, but the city's large student and international population means good vegetarian, halal, and international options are never far. Strasbourg is a mid-priced European city, cheaper than Paris, but not a bargain, and your daily spend swings mostly on hotels and restaurants. At the budget tier, plan on roughly 53 euros per person per day, leaning on hostels or budget rooms, market food, and walking everywhere. That budget day looks like a hostel bed near 28 euros, a couple of bakery and market meals, one paid site, and travel entirely on foot. The moderate tier, the one most travelers actually land in, runs around 96 euros per person per day for a comfortable but sensible trip. A moderate day covers a mid-range hotel split between two, a casual lunch and a Winstubs dinner, a museum or boat tour, and a day pass. The comfortable tier sits near 158 euros per person per day, the range for upscale hotels, fine dining, guided wine tours, and taxis when convenient. Breaking it down by category, accommodation is the biggest lever, spanning that 28 euro hostel bed up to 160 euros or more for a flagship room. Food is the next big variable, from about 6 euros for street food up to 95 euros a head for a full fine dining experience. Activities stay gentle on the wallet since the cathedral is free, many churches and parks cost nothing, and museums run only a handful of euros. Local transport barely registers, with a day pass around 460 euros, which is why so many Strasbourg budgets skip a rental car entirely. Drinks are a small but real line item, with a coffee around 3 euros, a local beer near 4.5, and a glass of Alsace wine about 6. Compared to the national picture, Strasbourg's hotels and restaurants run noticeably below Paris levels, while its food quality holds fully its own. A simple way to stretch any budget is to lean on the free layer, since the cathedral, the parks, and wandering the UNESCO island cost nothing at all. One honest caveat on timing. During the December Christmas market, hotel rates spike sharply, and availability tightens, so those weeks break every budget tier above. Strasbourg has a semi-continental climate, meaning 4 distinct seasons: cold gray winters, warm settled summers, and a truly lovely spring and autumn. The clear sweet spot is late spring, from April through June, when the city dries out, greens up, and the crowds have not yet peaked. April brings high temperatures around 18 degrees Celsius, that is about 64 Fahrenheit, with low rainfall and some of the sunniest days of the year. May warms further to highs near 22 degrees Celsius, roughly 71 Fahrenheit, an ideal window for walking the island and cruising the canals. June pushes into the mid-70s Fahrenheit, about 25 degrees Celsius, staying comfortable and long on daylight before the wetter heart of summer arrives. High summer, July and August, is warm and busy, with highs around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. That is the high 70s Fahrenheit. July is also the rainiest month by volume, so summer visitors should expect the occasional heavy afternoon thunderstorm rolling through the Rhine Valley. Autumn cools quickly, with September highs near 20 degrees Celsius, about 68 Fahrenheit, but September and October also bring the heaviest sustained rain. Winter is the clear low point for weather, with January and February highs barely above 5 degrees Celsius, around 41 Fahrenheit, plus fog and damp cold. Cold snaps can push overnight lows well below freezing, so a winter visit outside the holidays means bundling up for gray, biting days. That said, the calendar, not just the weather, should shape your timing, because Strasbourg's marquee events transform the city on their own. The headline is the Strasbourg Christmas Market, the Christkind des Marek, which runs through Advent from late November to Christmas Eve, and is among the oldest in Europe, dating to the 16th century. For roughly a month, the entire Old Town becomes a glittering market of wooden chalets, mulled wine, and Bray du Loup cookies, and the city rightly calls itself the capital of Christmas. The trade-off is intensity. December is by far the busiest and priciest stretch of the year, so book hotels months ahead and expect dense crowds. A very different draw is the annual music festival, France's nationwide Fête de la Musique, every June the 21st, when Strasbourg's squares fill with free live performances. For wine lovers, the annual Alsace Harvest Festival season across September and October brings village wine celebrations along the route, the most atmospheric time to tour the vineyards. Weaving it together, if you want warmth, blooms, and manageable crowds, come in May. If you want the magic and can handle the cold and prices, come in December. The shoulder months of April, September, and October are the quiet value windows, with fair weather, thinner crowds, and softer hotel rates than the two peaks. Choosing a shoulder month is the value play, since crowds thin out noticeably, while the Cathedral, museums, and Winstubs all keep normal hours and prices. The true off-season is January through March and November, the quietest and cheapest stretch when the city feels local but the weather is at its grayest. Nothing meaningful closes in the off-season, so if you accept the cold and short days, you get the Old Town nearly to yourself at the lowest rates of the year. A handful of practical details will smooth a Strasbourg trip, and most of the logistics here are refreshingly easy for a first-time France visitor. Start with entry, since Strasbourg sits inside the Schengen area, so United States and Canadian passport holders can visit visa-free for up to 90 days. Just make sure your passport has at least 3 months of validity beyond your planned departure, the standard Schengen rule border agents actually enforce. The currency is the euro, and the on-screen card carries the full rundown of payments, tipping, plugs, and connectivity. So here are only the parts that trip people up. On cards, the one real catch is American Express, which sees only limited acceptance in France, so carry a Visa or MasterCard as your primary. Watch for dynamic currency conversion at card terminals and cash machines, where the screen offers to charge you in dollars. Always decline and choose euros to avoid a poor built-in exchange rate. Contactless works nearly everywhere, but keep a little cash for small cafes, market stalls, and public toilets, which typically cost about 50 cents. Tipping is remarkably relaxed here, because French law already folds a service charge into every restaurant bill, so you are never expected to add 20%. Locals simply round up or leave €1 or €2 for good service, and that light touch is all that is expected of you. Connectivity is excellent, with fast, reliable 4G and 5G across the city, so a travel eSIM or a local prepaid SIM will keep you online cheaply. A tourist plan runs only around €10 for the month, and a French tourist SIM like Orange Holiday sits near €30 to €40 with generous EU-wide data. Power is the standard continental setup, 230 volts through the round 2-pin Type-E socket, so bring one European adapter for your American or British plugs. On language, French is the everyday tongue, but tourism-facing staff widely speak English, and Strasbourg's international character makes it one of France's easier cities to navigate. Still, a little politeness goes a long way, so always open with bonjour when you enter a shop and close with merci and au revoir. That opening bonjour is not optional courtesy, it is the social key, and skipping it is the fastest way to get a cool reception in France. On safety, Strasbourg is a comfortable city overall, scoring solidly on safety indexes, with low violent crime and the usual big city petty theft to mind. The real risk is pickpocketing and bag snatching in crowds, especially on the busy tram lines around the Cathedral Square and inside the packed Christmas market. You may also notice visibly armed police and soldiers patrolling public spaces, which reflects France's standing national security posture rather than any specific local danger. 2 mild street scams recur near the cathedral: the friendship bracelet tie-on and the fake petition clipboard, both easily shut down with a firm non and a walk away. The single number to remember is 112, the Europe-wide emergency line that reaches police, fire, and ambulance in English from any phone. Now for packing, which in Strasbourg is really a question of season, since the same city demands very different bags in July and December. The one constant across the whole year is rain, so a properly waterproof layer and shoes that handle wet cobblestones matter more here than almost anywhere. For clothing, pack in layers keyed to your month, a light waterproof shell, and breathable pieces for spring and summer, and heavy insulation for winter. If you come between November and February, add a warm coat, gloves, a hat, and thermal layers, because standing outdoors at the market gets bitterly cold. For footwear, the priority is broken-in, water-resistant walking shoes, since you will cover the Old Town's cobbles and canal paths almost entirely on foot. For gear, the essentials are one European plug adapter, a compact travel umbrella for the frequent showers, and a power bank for long days of walking and photos. A crossbody bag that zips closed is the smartest small purchase, since it directly counters the pickpocketing risk on trams and in market crowds. Finally, a few first-timer mistakes worth sidestepping, because knowing what to skip is as valuable as knowing what to see. The first mistake is renting a car for a city-only trip, which buys you nothing but parking headaches and restricted zone fines in a center built for walking. Only rent wheels if the wine route or the wider countryside is firmly on your plan, and even then, pick the car up on your way out of town. The second mistake is visiting in deep January or February expecting the Christmas magic, when the market is long gone and the weather is at its grayest and coldest. Time a winter trip to December for the market, or skip winter entirely for the far kinder light and warmth of May, rather than landing in the dead middle. The third mistake is treating Europa Park or the far-flung theme parks as must-dos on a short first visit, when they eat a whole day better spent on the island and the wine villages. And the fourth is a money trap, letting a card terminal quietly convert your purchase to dollars, which layers a hidden markup onto every swipe. Always pay in euros. Strasbourg is one of Europe's most rewarding small cities, a place where a UNESCO old town, deep museums, and a distinct food culture sit within a walkable core. It is best for history and architecture lovers who get a world-class cathedral and a remarkably preserved medieval and imperial cityscape in one compact place. It is equally strong for food and wine lovers, pulled in by the Alsatian table, the aromatic local whites, and the Winstubs and Michelin kitchens, hiding in plain sight. And it suits slow-travel couples who would rather wander canals and linger over long lunches than chase a checklist of major attractions. It is a weaker choice for travelers who want beaches, big nature on the doorstep, or the nightlife and shopping scale of a major capital. It is also a tougher sell in the deep winter, outside the Christmas market, when the weather turns gray, foggy, and bitterly cold. The value verdict is simple. For a 2 to 4 day European city break built on culture, food, and walkability, Strasbourg is hard to beat at its price. That's our guide to Strasbourg, France. Everything mentioned is linked in the description below. If you are planning another trip, we have more guides waiting for you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching.